Welcome to the Recap Book Chat. We are a mother and daughter duo
conversing about books over a cup of joe.
seeking truth to help us glow.
Ready, set, let's grow!
And welcome to the Recap Book Chat. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to dive into an awesome read called Edenbrooke by
Julianne Donaldson. Written in
2012.
2012. Historical fiction, I think?
Historical romance
Well, historical romance.
is what I would call it. What category would Jane Austen books be considered? It's that category. I think we could call that historical romance. Let's just go with that. Historical romance. Where did you hear about this book? Because you're the one that lent this to me to read, and I loved it.
I actually heard from Gloria. Gloria reads. She's one that I watch, and because she doesn't like divorce and she doesn't like affairs, and she has a pretty high bar. And she said that it is a perfect romance, is what she called it. Perfect. And it's sweet. She said young teenagers could read this. This is beautiful. And I do think it's more readable probably than Jane Austen. And then I kind of I had read Emma M. Lyon, and we read Emma by Jane Austen. So I was in that time period. So I thought,
I think that's a good synopsis to say this could be a stepping stone to Jane Austen books. For some
yes.
younger readers, or like you said, like teenagers and young adults who've never read Jane Austen, start with Edenbrooke.
Mm-hmm.
See what you think.
I actually liked it better than Emma. I don't know if you can say that, but I'm just going to say it. I did.
Yes, the story and the main character, you really do. You fall in love with her.
Marianne Daventry.
And I love this time period. So this is in the 1800s, the early 1800s in England. So you get that. There's a term. What's the name of it?
Is it a coming of age story? Is that what you're thinking, or
Regency era? Is that why it's called Regency? I think. But anyway. All that to say, I love that time period. Things are slower. This is before cars. This is before cell phones. This is before internet. All of that. So everything is at a much slower pace.
Which is why you are really you are surprised when right off the bat there's a kidnapping. I mean, a robbery. There's a robbery, and you're like, what? Because you're kind of thinking it is going to be Emma. You think it's going to be like Emma, and that's where, Emma M. Lyon throws you those curveballs all the time. You're getting something. Next thing you know, she's reading Islington's diary or journal. You're like, what happened? And that's kind of how Marianne is. I guess it's a carriage that they hired, but wait a minute. We will, before we go to that, what did you think about the author's craft? Did you think she was, I think the term I'm wanting to use is readable or enjoyable, or what did you think?
Smooth.
Yes.
I mean, it was like butter. I was not feeling good, and it made me forget that. And the cool thing about her too, if you didn't know, she grew up all over the world. She's the daughter of an Air Force fighter pilot.
Wow.
So she's lived in the Italian Alps, where she learned to ski. She's lived near a 500-year-old castle. She's visited East Berlin before the wall came down. And then she earned a degree in English, and she drew a lot of her inspiration from Jane Austen. So
well, that explains it.
We see that coming out in her writing. And and she's a mother. And she said that she wrote this while balancing family life, and that it has a fresh, accessible feel that appeals to both younger and older readers. And I'm like, nailed it. She did.
Mm-hmm.
She really did.
She did, because it is easier to read than Austen, and it is fresh. It's fresh, but classy, very classy. She somehow it's hard to put down when you get invested in it. You kind of want to find out what is going on. And you would like Marianne for a friend, I think. And I think that's what I do have a quote, though, that kind of tells the whole thing. I have discovered happiness is being true to who I am. I hope you will give that idea some consideration. And that's an older lady talking to Marianne, because it is kind of a Bildungsroman novel for girls, because she's coming of age. She's trying to figure out who she is. We always have those for boys because, but this is kind of like her coming of age story, because she's finding herself.
And she recently, well, it's been a year, she lost her mother to a tragic accident that you don't know about for a while, but she lost her mother. She's a twin sister, and the dad is grieving, and so he leaves her with the grandmother in Bath, and the daughter is with someone else in London. So she's her life has been turned upside down, and she loves being in the country, and now all of a sudden she's in Bath, which is a city, with her grandmother. So, and then she feels abandoned by her dad. So she has a lot of things going on in this time. And all of a sudden she gets this invitation to go to Edenbrooke and meet up with her sister. Her sister is friends with the daughter of the owners of Edenbrooke. It's this beautiful country estate. And so that's kind of where it starts. That's how we begin this story.
Yeah, and the reason it's called the Edenbrooke, this is kind of interesting, is because it is as beautiful as they thought Eden was when God created Eden, because everything is picturesque. And I thought that was cool.
So kick us off on the characters. You had mentioned Marianne. Tell us about her.
Marianne Daventry and her twin sister, Cicely. She feels very inferior to her sister, because she says she's beautiful, she's gorgeous, she's refined. And Marianne loves riding horses. She's an artist. She loves the outdoors, like you already said. And so they're very different. And her grandmother is a curmudgeon, but
with a heart.
Yeah, a curmudgeon with a heart. And it's very sweet, because she gives Marianne this necklace that has a picture of her mother inside. And, at one time those things were really passed down from generation to generation. We don't do that so much anymore, but this would have meant so much to Marianne, because she doesn't have anything of her mom and she has this. So it's very special. And she really doesn't get any say in where she's, like you said, she doesn't want to be in Bath, but then she's going to go to Edenbrooke, and she doesn't have a lot of say in that either.
Marianne?
Yeah, she's not my favorite. I love her, but
I do like her. She's very spirited, and she does not, she struggles with society's expectations, where her sister just buys in hook, line, and sinker. She plays the game. So I like that Marianne is a critical thinker, and she doesn't want to play the game. She just wants to be herself. So then like you said, we started with a near robbery, I should say. We won't go into what happened, but she does arrive at Edenbrooke.
But there was a robbery. The guy stole her mom's necklace.
Oh, you're right. So it was a robbery.
He really didn't want the money.
I meant a near kidnapping.
Yeah,
the kidnapping was foiled. The robbery proceeded.
Yeah, he wanted that necklace, and which she's devastated, But we meet, and she's kind of roughed up, And then
the driver was shot.
Yeah.
And so they had, again, she's gutsy, and she's like, we can't leave him here. He's unconscious, so her and her maid have to get him into this carriage, which it would be very difficult.
And that's where she meets this guy who, I don't know that he gave a name there, but they had a kind of an altercation. Like he was kind of upset. She was upset. Words were said, and,
he wasn't being a gentleman.
Yeah. And she told him he wasn't. She's kind of a spitfire, And I think that's kind of what and this is not very far into the book. You're like, oh, it's going to be just like Emma, which, Jane Austen takes a long time for things to happen, so you're like, da, la, 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 la. And then all of a sudden, robbery. I'm like, whoa, what happened?
And lo and behold, this guy who she doesn't like, who she's had kind of an altercation with at the end, trying to get help for her, the guy that was driving them. Lo and behold, it turns out to be the son of the lady who owns the Edenbrooke estate.
Sir Philip.
So he is very handsome. He is swoon-worthy, to say the least. So apparently there are a lot of ladies in the area that have set their cap for him. He is, I think he tops Mr. Darcy even in catchability, because I think he does have more charm than Mr. Darcy. Mr. Darcy was pretty cold.
Yeah, he has a lot of personality. In fact, he's the one that Cicely has set her cap for. She's going to marry him. That's kind of what she said. But
Marianne doesn't know that.
No.
She thinks her sister has set her cap for Philip's brother.
And then also we might point out and I don't know if I wrote her name down, but Philip's mom and Marianne's mom were best friends.
Yes.
And Marianne's mom was an artist, and Philip's mom and Philip, they think that Marianne paints like her mom. So that's part of it. That's why I thought you might like it, because she's an artist, and she loves just going out. And where she's like Emma M. Line is her hair is never perfect, and it's kind of because she's outside, she's painting, she's doing this, and you just kind of fall in love with her because she's authentic.
Very authentic. Yeah, she doesn't like doing what, again, the ladies of that time would be expected to do, which would be needlepoint, play the piano, all these indoor activities. She would much rather be outside. She loves being outdoors. Her favorite place is in an orchard. That's her safe spot. But they end up having to spend a week together. She finds out Sir Philip does come back, and before her sister arrives, she's delayed by a week. So she spends about a week kind of getting to know Sir Philip and becomes pretty smitten herself. And so does Sir Philip. So this is an enchanted week. They go horseback riding all the time. They love to read books. They have a lot of similar interests. And I think he's enamored with her because she is so real, and she gets angry at him a lot. Every time he tries to flirt.
Yeah, she doesn't understand. She really does not have a very good, as far as in the romance department, she doesn't think she is worthy to be, she feels like Cicely has the looks, the charm, the personality, and that she just doesn't have any of that. And she's okay with that. But her Cicely wants to find a rich husband, and she thinks there's a brother that's not Sir Philip, that's not married. But when Marianne finds out his brother's married, and then he had one that died, didn't he?
Yes. So and when her sister comes, she finds out, lo and behold, it's Sir Philip that her sister has set her cap all along.
And she was hard to like. Cicely, I did not like her. I mean, she is shallow. She's not even as deep as the kiddie pool. I mean, the kiddie pool part. I mean, she's so shallow. Never
very
asked
flirtatious.
Yeah.
Even though she wants Sir Philip, she'll flirt with anybody.
And which at this time period is a little unusual. To me, of course, maybe I've read too much Jane Austen, but I mean, she was just really brazen. She was brazen, But, and then I'm not going to tell this everything, but there is a misunderstanding, and Marianne overhears Sir Philip say something that's pretty cruel concerning her. She overhears that, so she's devastated, like heartbroken,
because she had been vulnerable. She had shared a lot of her pain and hurt with him.
And while she never thought he was romantically interested in her, probably, but that they were friends. And his just real cutting remarks. This shows you remember Jefferson Fisher, like misunderstanding. Because we are human, there's so many ways we can misunderstand a conversation, especially if we're not really supposed to be privy to that conversation. So you're like listening in. So you don't know where it started. You don't know where, I think that's like reading the Bible. When we read the Bible, we need to think, who was this written to? And not take things out of context. And I think a lot of misunderstandings are taken out of context. And that's what, of course, I'm not saying I wouldn't have been any different. I would have been right up there with her. I mean, I would have said, yeah.
And as the reader, you understand the misunderstanding. So it is frustrating as the reader. You're like, oh, that's not what he meant, or that's not what she meant, or that's not what's really going on. So I think it does help us know that ask those clarifying questions because, yeah, at one point, Marianne thought this lady was talking about a brothel, and it turned out to be like a racing track or something, but she was completely misunderstood what was going on. So that was funny when they're talking about two different things. One was talking about horses, the other thought it was talking about mistresses.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and that's how a lot of humor, Shakespeare uses that kind of stuff all the time. So there's some humor in it too, and excitement. What were your, I have 3 words. What, do you have a word?
Sure, what do you got?
I have noble, and then I had actually sincerity, being sincere, and then misunderstanding was my 3rd word. Like, because I think there's several misunderstandings from different ways,
I like noble, and I definitely like misunderstanding. That was one that I had picked too. Because there's just lots of misunderstandings. Like, I felt like Marianne and Philip pretty much, except for the week they were together, outside of that, they misunderstand a lot of things.
True.
But yeah, it was between that, misunderstanding, and charming, because it's such a charming book. And he's charming, Sir Charming, but I feel like misunderstanding really captures what the book is dealing with.
And I said what was most surprising is that you have a robbery and a kidnapping in this, and on the cover of the book is so beautiful. It shows her with this beautiful dress on. It's very just gorgeous, and it's perfect for summer. Be a great read. But if you open that book up, you are not expecting to have a robbery and a kidnapping,
No. The villains. Oh yeah, we should talk about the villains a little bit. Or maybe we shouldn't. Actually, we shouldn't. But there are villains.
Yes, there's bad
highwaymen.
Yeah, that's
unpleasant suitors. We'll put that.
In fact, they call that, I thought in the book they said hijacked. They got hijacked, which I thought was funny because we think of that as being an airplane, would be hijacked. But that was, you don't really think, I guess I never, of course, in the Wild West, there were outlaws that robbed stagecoaches. So this is just the same thing, except the carriage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is. I did have a quote from Sir Philip.
Good.
He said, "I'm always serious when it comes to matters of the heart." Because he did joke and flirt a lot, but Marianne, again, because she had a low self-esteem, she thought he was being cruel and teasing her, like acting like he liked her even though he didn't. So she totally misunderstood his flirting. But I like that. I'm always serious when it comes to matters of the heart. So
I love that quote, sis. That's a great one.
Very much a gentleman. Really love Sir Philip. And it says in my new, slightly old, I'm trying to finish this reader's journal. I didn't finish it earlier, but it had a question. When I finished this book, I felt like, and I put, like sipping tea and trying twirling, although not at the same time.
I love that. Yes, because Marianne was a twirler, and she would just twirl around, and it got her in trouble several times. But yeah, I like that you said that's hilarious, but not at the same time. That's cool. Yeah, I did drink quite a bit of tea because I feel like, I needed some tea to read, you need a spot of tea. But it was delightful, though. A delightful read.
A delightful, yes. And we can't give too much away. We're being pretty guarded on what we say because we really want you to read this book and enjoy it and not have any spoilers in there. But
yes.
So there's not very much we can talk about without giving spoilers away. But if you like, this book would be for anyone who likes anything Jane Austen, historical romance of any kind. Very sweet, very funny, you don't want to put it down.
Yeah.
Because it's really good.
Well, that you didn't feel good and that you were able to forget about it and read it speaks well of Julianne Donaldson. Very good.
I know. I was like to my family, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. I'm reading.
I don't know how this came out in 2012 and I've never heard about it ever. And so we need to put some, they have a hype over all these books, but there's no hype here. It's kind of probably like not who you know. It's not what you know, but who you know, the hype. Because everyone is hyping about the Calamity Club, which I think people liked. Her first book was The Help. It was good, but my good friend Jana, she was pretty upset because someone trashed Theo. She said, "Who's this Nazi reader?" Because they said, Theo is nothing. Calamity Club is the best book, blah, blah, blah. And threw Theo of Golden under the bus. And Jana wasn't happy about it. She hasn't read Calamity Club, but she was just like, who doesn't like Theo?
Yeah. I mean, it would be, I don't know who would not like Theo of Golden. So
maybe they would be in the Nazi realm, I guess.
Maybe.
Jana might be right. But in this one, definitely, if you wanted to give it for a gift, I would say probably 13 and up would love it. It is 255 pages, but reads much faster than Austen, It's an easy read.
More. Didn't you say it was a series?
That's I think Gloria reads, she pointed that out. But I kind of hope they don't make it into a movie. Seems like, every time I would have a really good read aloud for class, like I was reading aloud James and the Giant Peach, and that was, beginning of the year. Because in third grade, you have beginning of the year books and end of the year, because those 2 semesters are pretty, as far as attention span, they're pretty different. And we started with James and the Giant Peach and everything. They made the movie and everybody's like, I know what happens. And Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, another one.
You lose some of the magic of imagination.
And just, of course, I guess if you wait long enough and people have forgotten about the movie, it might work. But I don't know.
With attention spans now, it's like 3 seconds. You're good. So.
Yeah. The attention span of a goldfish. But definitely check out Edenbrooke if you are looking for, like you always talked about summer reads. This is a great summer read.
Perfect summer read.
You'll thank us for it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that is a wrap on Edenbrooke.
And I am surprised that I didn't say something that I shouldn't say. It was hard. And now I can take my gag off. But we thank you for stopping in for a listen, and we hope that you give Edenbrooke a try. We hope you have found a time in your day where you can read. I was listening to I think he is a college professor, but he was saying we need time during your day, not schoolwork, but just to read, just to pick up a book and read and kind of have that as a sacred time. A lot of people have a Bible study time when you first get up. And, another time, I know in school, that was the kids' favorite time, was read to self time and read aloud time. They always said, that's our favorite time. And for something to beat recess, I mean, that says a lot. So
we're trying to bring back tea time. So I think we're trying to bring back a 3:00 tea time. So maybe that's something that
you with
can
a cup
do
of tea.
Too. Mm-hmm. Just have tea and read. And we kind of saw that from the Madame Chic lady, Jennifer L. Scott. She does that. She has a tea time, a little dessert, and reads. And I thought that's so classy. I love it. So we're trying to facilitate that, mimic that into our day as well.
Well, I think I'll join you on that because it does kind of facilitate you know, you're there with your tea, you're slowing down. You know, you talked about this book kind of we slow down. I do think it's good for you to slow down. They used to say in Australia the teachers took a tea break while the kids read to themselves. That was 40 years ago. I don't know if they still do that, but I was like, I would remember wanting to move to Australia because I said, wow, that sounds great. I think I want to do that. But there's a little hobbit inside of all of us. And so let's embrace that and slow down a bit and read. And we hope that you will join us as we connect
to reflect.
Catch you on the next one.